Welcome to MGO Bucks. We are still dealing with the fallout from the Ohio State major loss to Michigan over the weekend. It's only been 2 days, but in the last video, Matt, that we did, I was still kind of in a daze. It had only been a couple hours since the game had happened. I hadn't gotten all my wits about me. I still obviously haven't, but
Nate, I've known you 30 plus years, and you've never had wits about you.
Yeah. I'm
going to also have to take issue with the fallout and the major loss.
It's a major loss. Major loss.
A loss is a loss.
It is a smackdown at home when you're favored to win.
One loss, and some other teams that were
but it's a major loss
for the playoffs have 2 losses.
One major loss equals 3 non-major losses.
How many bombs did McCarthy have in this game?
More than he's ever had, like through the whole season.
No, the first one was a hitch. It was like
the
8 yards. The guy missed a tackle, and then he ran like 50 yards after the guy missed the tackle.
Yeah, that first one wasn't a bomb. I mean, that was just a really awesome play by Michigan.
He didn't hit a lot of guys in stride, though, even on those big ones. Guys had to slow down to get them. They were just so open.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's how you throw the ball, though. I mean, when they're that wide open, you throw the ball so that you don't overthrow them. You make them slow down just a little bit so that you can be sure to catch that.
Or you're not that good, and that's just the way that you do it.
Yeah. Well, not until this game. They maybe were not that good, but they are now.
You know what? Ohio State defensive backs can make any quarterback look good.
And one other thing we're going to talk about, Matt, I think you said, and this is a rumor, but TreVeyon Henderson, there are some subtle signs that he might be transferring.
I wouldn't say that's subtle.
Well, explain what you saw today, because I think that's interesting. And we're not making any predictions here or spreading any rumors per se. I guess we are spreading rumors.
Yeah, in his bio, he took out Ohio State and everything. So
really,
that doesn't seem very subtle to me.
What's his beef?
Lack of playing time. But
he has like a broken bone in his foot and torn ligaments, so he's not playing now anyway. And there's nothing that the depth chart has anything to do with it. He can't play because he's hurt.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, he hasn't really been the back that he was last year. I mean, right? Well, he had something over 1,300
he's been hurt
rushing last
year. Almost all year he's been hurt. I don't know when I don't even know if that injury happened before in the offseason or what. It just seems like he hasn't been right this year. I'm not sure exactly when, or if there's been multiple injuries. I don't know the exact timing on that, but it seems like he's definitely been off all year. And they just now, I don't know if it was him or someone else, reported that he had the broken bone. I think it was him, that he had the broken bone and torn ligament.
Well, we knew it had to be serious because he wasn't even dressed. I mean, he wasn't in there during that game. He was in street clothes.
Yeah, he and Corum were off to the side playing patty cake the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, so that's a rumor out there. I guess that's not subtle. Maybe it's not a rumor, but that is very, very jarring, to say the least, for Ohio State, because they really can't afford to be losing running backs, especially 5-star running backs.
Yeah. And there's big news out of Ohio State today too, guys. Did you hear something else?
Uh-oh, what?
The president is resigning, has been asked to resign from the trustees due to the loss at Michigan. Not the coach is fired. The president resigned.
That's a rumor.
No, the president resigned.
The president of the United States. The president.
Yes, the president of the United States resigned.
The president.
Ohio State president. It's in the It's in the Columbus Dispatch.
That's a true story.
It's a true story.
Okay, I'm Googling this because
great. So you're telling me that Ohio is so fucked up that they're going to make the president of their flagship university resign over a loss to Michigan?
She resigned at the trustees' request. The reason
she did resign.
Has not been,
Wow.
I mean,
if that has anything
to do with because of a loss to
Michigan, it was her or Ryan Day.
She doesn't have anything to do.
If that has anything to do with football, that is so fucking embarrassing for the state of Ohio.
And there's no way it has anything to do with football.
Okay, I would hope so.
But I am curious.
The timing is very dubious.
Yes.
Totally dubious.
Oh my God.
It's very biased.
Yeah, Nate and his conspiracy theories are just going to run wild after this.
Yeah,
that was my conspiracy theory. Thank you.
No, I know, but Nate will run with it. You know how he does.
Great timing on that.
Sounds like a
Great
lot of
timing.
propaganda.
By the way, Nate, you didn't introduce us. What's going on here?
I was getting to that. So go ahead and introduce yourself, since you just like drew attention to yourself.
I am Diego Garcia, the top Maryland fan in the country.
Thank you for raising your hand.
Is there any more generic Latino name than Diego? I mean, it's like being Bob Smith.
Actually, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's more like being James Smith, but yeah, because Diego is pretty much James. So, in case you didn't know, and why is Matt gone?
Who knows why Matt's gone? Let's introduce Jason though.
Power outage.
Well, did you hear what happened in the DC area?
No.
We had a single engine plane hit our power in one of the suburbs, and I guess 100,000 people were out of power yesterday from 5:30 p.m. until God knows when today. They had to cancel school in Montgomery County.
Well, all right.
Crazy. All because of one little tiny plane. And the guy survived, and so did the woman. 2 people stuck literally in the power, like not the power lines, but like the metal thing.
Does this have anything to do with football?
Dude, you don't think that's insane that somebody flew into the power line and survived?
This is stuff we can text about, not being live on a football.
Oh my
show.
Lord! The people
Nate,
want to hear
get control
about
of your show, please.
I don't want to.
You can mute him. You know that, right?
So no, let's talk about like some more fallout. I mean, we've had a couple days to process Ohio State and their.
Well, the main fallout that I've been getting is like 10 emails a day from people that are rubbing it in my face that my predictions.
You deserve it.
Thank you for that.
So let's go. I mean, we don't have Brian
in
here.
my predictions.
We don't have Brian here, but let's talk about our predictions. Like, what was your score prediction for that game? I mean, I want to hear it so I can make fun of it. And everyone else, please, everyone
I got
make
the
fun
prediction
of Matt.
right, but my prediction was right. I just had the teams reversed.
Yep.
What was your score prediction?
It was almost exactly what the score was, but in reverse.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did 38-24, I think was my prediction.
For Ohio State.
I don't know if you guys remember last time I was on.
I
predicted Michigan. I didn't give a score, but I predicted Michigan.
Nice work.
Interesting. Yeah, I picked Michigan to win 31-27. So apparently I overestimated Ohio State's scoring chances in this, because it was 28-3 in the half.
Yep.
You know
Michigan outscored Ohio State 28-3 in the second half. I mean, I've been thinking about this. That's stunning.
It is. You know, something a lot of people aren't talking about that I think they're missing is that Ohio State played Maryland last week, and Maryland gave them such a hard time that I think they were depleted, and that affected the outcome of this game. I don't think people realize that.
That must have been it, clearly.
I mean, Maryland gave them such a hard time. Honestly, I think they were just depleted. They were mentally spent.
I think Ohio State is physically soft. They are a flair team, might I say flair, and just not physical. And Michigan is a physical team. Ohio State needs to get back to being physical and less cute with the damn ball.
Matt, I know you have an opinion. It's circulating right now. I can see it. Are they soft?
So it's a bunch of different things. So like saying physical is sort of a lazy excuse, because what actually happened. So was Cam Brown not being physical enough when he dove for the receiver and just missed him? I mean, was that not being physical enough? No. Was Cam Martinez turning the wrong way and just getting turned around on a bomb and just letting the guy go by him because he just doesn't know how to play defense because he hasn't played much this year, and we have zero depth in the defensive backfield, and that's an issue that it's a recruiting issue and a coaching issue. So I mean, that's not being physical. It's just having.
Why didn't Ohio State score in the second half though? Why didn't they score in the second half?
Now, I would say if you want to get into mental toughness, having penalties killing drives. That's a mental toughness issue, and I think that's probably a bigger issue that needs to be focused on. Having a, we had I think the worst sequence of events in the entire game was when we had the ball like around the 50-yard line, and we throw a pass, and we get about 25 yards on the pass, and instead of having the ball on the Michigan 25-yard line, they get a holding call. So that moves it back 10 yards to the 40, and then
that's because Michigan was too physical. They had to hold them.
Backup tight end. Well, the guard play has been our weakness, and I was worried about that coming into the game. We had a new guy playing in at right guard because our elite right guard got injured against Maryland, so Diego's partially right. He hadn't missed a game all year, and he got hurt against Maryland. Now, he's been playing hurt the last 3 or 4 weeks, but he got removed from the Michigan game because of his injury against Maryland. And we have a new guy who had not started all year playing in his spot. Well, two people, actually. They were trying to figure out how to replace him. I'm not sure who gave up that hold, if it was his replacement or the other guard. But either way, that was 10 yards and a loss of the 25-yard offensive play, plus another 15 yards on top of that. So it ended up being like 1st and 35. And we still almost got it, and we probably could have. But then on 4th and 5, we decided to punt it, which was ridiculous. And then another one, I don't know if you guys heard this, but there was another 4th down play where we punted around midfield, and we almost got it blocked. Do you remember that play, Nate?
Oh, yeah. Totally. That was supposed to be a
so on that
fake
play,
punt.
Fake.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a fake punt.
The our long snapper got hurt a few weeks ago, so this is the backup long snapper, and I guess he forgot that it was a fake. So we were lucky that the punter even grabbed it, because he wasn't supposed to go to him. It was supposed to go to like the tight end or someone for the fake. And so no one blocked at all. So it's lucky he caught it.
Well,
it's lucky he was able to get it off.
And you guys called out too. The receivers don't ever block too. I'm telling you, Michigan came in physical and hard nosed, and Ohio State did not.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting.
So there's. I will say the physicality aspect of it, Jason. The biggest area where we lack that is at the blocking from our receivers. In past years, our receivers have been really good at blocking. This year, all of them have been trash at blocking. And now Cade Stover's really good blocking when he doesn't have to run very far. But if he has to run to an edge to do a sweep or something, he can't block those at all. And that's what they did. They kept trying to do those on like 3rd and short and 4th and short. And I don't know why they're asking receivers and tight ends to try to block when they haven't been able to do that all year on crucial plays. That's just stupid. But yeah, that's a toughness issue, like getting your receivers to be able to block and actually care. So that I will agree with you on that. And then, the other area is our defensive tackles, just basically the good ones that we had earlier in the year, Tyleik Williams and Michael Hall Jr., that were like scorching hot. I don't know what happened, but they've been getting like the last 5-6 games have only been getting 10 to 15 plays a game. So no one really knows what's going on with that. That's the guys that are playing in front of them are just basically placeholders that they don't do anything.
Well, hey, listen.
so you can't have good defense with those.
Just the overall on this, if you look at last year's game and this year's game, this year was like the antithesis of last year. Last year, Michigan did out-physical Ohio State. I mean, they just bowled them over, running the ball the whole time, beat them on both sides of the field. And so this year they bring in Jim Knowles, right? He's the savior of the defense for Ohio State. So he develops this game plan of just stopping the run.
Yeah, he stuck to it.
He stuck to it. And you know what? It's like, what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving? I know it was over by the time, but it's the Thanksgiving weekend. So I was thankful that Jim Knowles didn't realize that Blake Corum had left the game after 2 carries in the beginning. He kept playing that defense.
He did.
He had devised.
Well, what?
I made this defense, therefore I want to play it.
No excuse in the second half.
Why should he have changed the defense?
Because Michigan wasn't the same.
They were passing all over them.
Blake Corum. I mean,
well, hold on. Donovan Edwards is every bit as good as Blake Corum.
and he had a cast on his hand, and he could barely hold the ball.
Agreed.
I mean, they were stopping the run, and he didn't. It's okay. I don't blame him for going saying, "Hey, stop the run." You know, that's what Michigan
But
does.
at some point, when
You
you
needed
get
to recognize that
thrown
he's
all
getting
over,
burned.
yeah,
You don't have to hang your ass out to the fire
yes.
and get burned over and over and over and not adjust. It's just amazing that it happened that way, and that he didn't adjust even in the second half. He's Don Brown 2.0.
Well, are you sure? Are you
he
sure he
makes the same
didn't?
mistakes.
Are you sure he didn't, though, Nate?
Didn't look any different than me.
Are you sure he didn't?
He
Because
adjusted a tiny bit. He just kept coming back.
Running the ball, and they started running when they adjusted.
A little bit.
They finally got
Not
a drive
lot.
where they were running.
Not a lot.
Well,
How many touchdown
it was their
passes?
only drive of the game.
How many touchdown passes?
Michigan had one drive in the entire game. 1.5.
How many passes? How many TD passes?
They were trying to do the. Well, they had the one TD pass where it was a short one where it was broken long, and that was where it made it, 17-10 or something, and then I think at the beginning of the third quarter they had that. What wasn't it like a? Was that which was the one was the fake where the tight end or someone threw it, or running back threw it?
Yeah, that was their one drive of the game.
I missed that one.
Yeah, they had one drive where they went the length of the field. They started on the 20 and went all the way down. It went 8 minutes. Michigan had an 8-minute drive.
Wait, what quarter was that in?
It was in. It started in.
So how many long passes were there though? So by the quarterback, there was only one long pass, correct?
There was actually JJ hit a 32-yarder to Bell. He then hit the one that he only
that was but that was a field goal after that though.
It's a field goal, but that was a long pass. And then he hit the 70-yarder to Cornelius Johnson. He only went 10 yards on that, so that's not a bomb. Then he hit Cornelius Johnson on the very next play for like 75 yards, and then he hit a 45-yarder to tight end for a touchdown.
Safety.
Yeah,
everything
was on the safety.
Was that the one? Did he hit the tight end, or was that the one that was the fake?
No, he hit the tight end
from the
for a
running
45-yard touchdown to start the second half. That was their first drive of the second half.
Why do you guys seem to be discounting Donovan Edwards?
No one's discounting the guy.
I'm not.
They didn't need to run that high-risk defense for Michigan this game. They really didn't. I'm glad they did.
Well, maybe
me wrong.
they did.
It was awesome to watch that.
Well, maybe they did. Maybe they knew that they wouldn't be able to stop Edwards without doing that.
Edwards had 9.8 yards per carry. 9.8 yards per carry.
Well, he had 150 yards on like 2 plays.
I know he had the 85-yarder for one, but the point is he was a stud.
What's his average on the year? Isn't his average on the year 6.5? He's really good.
Yeah, I know. The guy's a star. I think you guys are underestimating or undervaluing.
Michigan offensive line is good too.
Nobody's
no, of course. I'm saying I don't see a lot of difference between him and Blake Corum. I don't.
You guys are getting some comments, by the way. You might want to talk to.
Yeah, we're going to start talking about some comments.
Let's hear what they have to say.
Yeah, let's take some comments. Hold on here. This is a good one. Hey, Angelo, thanks for commenting. LOL, throwing hate at JJ McCarthy. Good luck getting into the playoff. That was at you, Matt. Good luck, Ohio State getting into the playoff.
They should not make the playoffs.
I'm throwing hate at JJ?
I guess that's what he's saying.
Well, first, let's talk about JJ.
I hate when you guys say JJ because you guys have called me JJ for 30 years. It confuses me.
Not the JJ host or guest.
Let's hear about this.
JJ is obviously he's a very good quarterback. He's ranked what I showed you guys earlier. He's I think 16th in the country in QBR.
He's surprisingly high.
So out of all, surprisingly high. I mean, he's the lowest of all the people that are vying for a spot in the playoffs, and obviously they're locked up no matter what. And my point on him is I've been blaming mostly the receivers this year more so than him. Now, I think, obviously he's very accurate on the short and intermediate routes. Mm-hmm. He's really good at, extending plays with his feet and, making big third down sometimes with his feet as well. And he made one of the biggest plays of the game with his feet, being able to get that play off with a full out blitz in his face. So that was a really great play. I just don't think he doesn't make accurate throws like CJ does. Like when you have like CJ's throwing over a linebacker in between two defenders and going right to the receiver's hands.
Does he have 10? Does he have 10?
JJ doesn't make plays like that.
Does he have 10 seconds in the pocket like JJ does, or like CJ does?
No, CJ has. That's the other thing. So I think that your defense has some major problems. If you go against any quarterback that has a good passing game, also like us, I mean, you guys get zero pressure on the quarterback.
Why didn't CJ run on some of those plays where he had the field open in front of him?
CJ Stroud
never
doesn't
runs.
run.
He never runs. That's
and he does occasionally, but
he had a lot of
run a little more.
Yeah,
it would open things up for him.
Yep.
Hey,
that's
thanks,
one of the
Angelo.
biggest problems that Ohio State fans have with him. He never runs. He won't take the easy yards.
Go to another one. DJ. Yeah, thanks for commenting. TreVeyon will not transfer. Where did you hear this? Matt, I think you're the one that communicated
his own Twitter bio.
Yeah.
He said that. He didn't say he was transferring, but he took Ohio State out of his profile.
So it was kind of a passive aggressive type of thing to do, I would say.
Well, it sounds like he's strongly considering it.
Right.
I mean, obviously, there hasn't been an announcement that I've heard of yet, but it's not good. It's not a good sign. Is what I'm saying. Another
one from JJ. He got rid of all his Ohio State stuff on his social media, so it sounds like,
oof.
Yeah. It's definitely being noticed.
JJ's an Oilers fan. Look at that. You don't hear a lot of those.
Yeah,
a lot of JJs today.
A lot of JJs.
JJ McCarthy,
Yeah.
Jason Johantges. No one gets that one though. And JJ, another one. Thanks, appreciate it. Congrats to Michigan fans on their back-to-back.
Well, that's classy. That's classy.
It is. And you know what? It's one of the things I've said this before. That game, the two games are so different. It was all about methodical running like last year, and this year it was just big play after big play after big play. It was like Michigan saying, "Okay, we know that Ohio State thinks we're going to be what we were last year, so we'll just throw it over their heads to wide open receivers." And no one thought Michigan could do it. It's like I don't blame them for the first half. Ohio State and their defensive philosophy for sticking with it in the first half, but they really should have said it, at the half, like, okay, we don't need to hang our ass out there anymore. I mean, we're going to get burned over and over, and they did 3 more times in the second half.
So one of the things I think
what are we hearing in the background there?
About enough.
Did you hear my wife playing piano upstairs?
Oh, is that what it is? I was like, I hear somebody.
She was playing Christmas music, just so you know.
Okay. Well, it's better than having to look at Nate's bed. So
it's listen. It is free soundtrack music for your show.
Free.
First of all, Jason, I will say your background is the best of all of ours by far.
That's because I'm the coolest out of all of you.
Yeah, I was going to say it's by far the best. I mean, notwithstanding, my Terps flag, which of course trumps everything, but still pretty good.
Of course.
Got to get that in there.
Nate can go to sleep.
I thought
if we start talking about Maryland, that's why I'm in here with the bed. Start talking about Maryland football. I will be taking a nap.
Well, first of all, I have not heard any. I've not heard any complaints on the message board about my Maryland fandom yet.
But here's the thing: like Ohio State played Maryland last week. What do you think? Do you think in that very close game, what did Ohio State maybe show in that? I mean, other than the injuries, what did Ohio State show in that maybe Michigan used to their advantage? Because I kind of think like those later games, teams generally use those and say, some use it for decoys, say, here, we're going to do these things in this game and then do the opposite. But it'll be interesting.
Throw on our crappy secondary. It's not rocket science.
Well, yeah. I mean, Talia had
the same thing. They just throw on the secondary.
Talia had a tough time against Wisconsin. And granted, there was bad weather, and Penn State. And those were both away games. But he didn't have a lot of difficulty with Ohio State's secondary. So you have to wonder, is that
he had time to throw when he
Yeah.
has time to throw?
well, okay.
and he's
He had
healthy.
time to throw because I think Maryland replaced that true freshman at center. So that could have been part of it.
Yeah.
So Ohio State was
Wasn't he hurt too, Talia?
Talia was hurt, and I think he continues to be hurt, but I think maybe he's healed a little bit. I think Ohio State got a better team than the previous two opponents did. So I don't know how much we can glean from that, but I will say that, Nate, you said that you thought Ohio State would be vanilla on purpose because they didn't want to show anything for Michigan. So, I mean,
They couldn't be vanilla. They were in too close of a game.
Yeah, true. No, I mean, I was obviously shocked by it. If you remember when I was on last, I thought we were going to get beat, close to 30-0 like we did against Penn State. And I was obviously very pleasantly surprised. But, it's hard week to week. Things like home field advantage obviously can make a big difference. I think being at home made a huge difference for us against Ohio State, but they definitely were exposed as not being as good as maybe their number 2 or number 3 ranking in the country. That's just my opinion.
Interesting. That's good. We've got another comment. I was using that as kind of like the Oscars music when you want like one of the people to stop talking about something like Maryland. It's that just.
I was talking about Ohio
like
State as
Oscars
well.
music.
You do control the mute button. You do control the mute button.
I was talking
JJ
about Ohio State as well. Just for
says
the
how
record.
many Buckeyes will sit out for the Rose Bowl since it appears we're going to play Washington. Oh my gosh,
I
Washington!
thought it was Alabama you guys were going to play.
Well, that would be interesting and all. I'd like that, but Washington, it's usually a Rose Bowl, right? Ohio State's going to the Rose Bowl.
That's going to be the
Think about that.
second
That's a really good
second
point.
best team, right? Because USC's probably going to make the playoffs.
Wait,
If
what
we
about
think that.
UCLA? What about UCLA?
They're not good. They
Oregon,
got beat too many times.
UCLA. It's going to be Washington? Really? I guess I've been not paying attention to the
I'm not going to engage in that nonsense because we're going to the playoffs. Thank you.
Undeservedly,
Our
if you
Buckeye
do.
fan here-
Undeservedly.
The other half of this channel of the Buckeyes doesn't want to entertain the idea that the Rose Bowl is in play because it's very possible still USC or TCU could lose. It is possible that could happen.
Yeah, my
But
answer to that
Washington
question
would be a
would
good
be
game.
it's not very likely. I think it's unlikely, but if it were to happen, obviously CJ Stroud would not play.
Right.
I think the only people that wouldn't play are going to be the people that are going pro, though. So, like, I think Hickman said he was going pro.
You got 2 offensive
I'm
tackles.
guessing
DeJuan Jones and
if JSN, if JSN is actually healthy to play in the playoffs, he'll play. But if it's for something other than the playoffs, he's not going to play.
JSN
Obviously, like Nate said, both of our tackles. Trying to think of who else would be a high draft pick.
So who's
I mean,
the guy
other than
behind
Hickman who said he was
CJ right
going, and
now?
then-
The 5-star quarterback behind CJ?
Well, they're all 5 stars, pretty much. I mean, depending on which.
They're all 5 stars.
Maybe coaching's the problem.
McCord, that's the dude. We'd see him for sure.
Well, McCord and Brown are both probably going to split. I mean, I think that would be really fun to see what those guys can do.
Maybe Ryan Day should sit out.
How is it that Ohio State has had so few NFL quarterbacks with 5-star recruits
Thanks, JJ.
left and right? I don't get it.
Not a quarterback.
They
Not a
don't-
quarterback.
Maybe on
TreVeyon to
Michigan.
They don't need them. They got really good running backs.
Oh, he can come to Michigan. He can come to
Jeez,
Michigan.
Pete's.
We'll have him. We'll play him, a little more than Ohio State played him. Kind of
Sure.
like a third down back.
Well, you guys are going to get the Wisconsin running back. That's what you guys are going to get. Braylon, what's his name?
Braylon
Braylon
Allen. There's some rumors.
Why
about
transfer
Braylon
now?
Allen.
You got Fickle going to Wisconsin. You got a real coach.
Yeah, Fickle might talk him out of it. I mean,
He
I
might.
hope not.
Well, it's not about the coach, JJ. It's about the money. I think Michigan could outbid Wisconsin, but we'll see.
Yeah, very true.
They should.
Thanks,
Who
Matt.
wants to
This is
play
the first
Wisconsin?
year. It's the first year. It's the first year of Fickle's coach tenure. So
You know what?
I would
Here's
say that would, if you were.
Let me do my fickle rant real fast before you answer this comment,
Oh,
which is good.
geez.
I'm not
like a
mad
Maryland.
that he left Cincinnati. Like he was going to leave at some point. What annoys me is, which has come out recently, he wanted that Notre Dame job desperately last year, but because UC was in the playoffs, he felt obligated to stick around. So he took this just because. And I said, that's a terrible reason. He's going to be like the 4th or 5th best team in the Big Ten. You got USC coming in. That's it.
Obviously, he was offered a ton of money.
Of course, he was offered a ton of money, but it's Wisconsin. Like, really, you can't hold out to Ryan Day gets canned after losing 3 years in a row to Michigan.
Well, he would be making money in the interim. Why wouldn't he make more money?
I think that's
he can always come back to Ohio State.
Hey, let's talk about this.
All
question.
Right, that's a good question.
I wonder which draft prospects are going to play in bowl games. They should create a separate list. Definitely not the first rounders. They have too much to lose.
What does he mean by creating a separate list?
They should. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Can you explain? I am too busy.
I am too busy. Reading comprehension.
He's too busy to explain the list, Diego. Figure it out yourself.
I am too busy. Can you please explain what a separate list means?
Yeah, he went on to say Malik Willis surprisingly played in last year's bowl.
Well, he's trying to get drafted. I mean, I think a lot of guys who think they can improve their draft stock want to play. And then there's the CJs and the Bryce Youngs of the world who don't need to improve their draft stock.
Very true. Bryce Young, we're never seeing him play college football again. Just saying. Henderson Corum would have 3,000 rush yards at Michigan. That's so true. I mean, Corum's not coming back.
Yes,
Henderson would have been injured, just like he was injured He was injured all year.
And Jim Knowles would still be haunted by the ghost of Blake Corum and Henderson in the game and have a game plan that doesn't make any sense through the whole year and get burned again.
First of all, let me just say, because I don't think I've said it on this show, Corum is a traitorous D-bag. And I am happy. I'm happy that Michigan proved that they have a better back last week.
Is he from Maryland?
Yes, he is. Baltimore, Maryland.
Traitorous
D-bag.
Diego feels this way.
Blake Corum, I hope you're listening. You are a degenerate. You should have played your home state.
Is it truly
spiteful?
Is it truly possible that Henderson could transfer in conference and go to the rival? I mean, that's kind of unprecedented.
Yes, we had an offensive lineman do it during the Rich Rod years.
Oh, well, that doesn't count. State. Rich Rod.
Yeah.
What was his name? Boren.
One of the
Borens. Justin Boren, I think.
Not as boring as Diego, I'm telling you that much.
I hope that Ohio State gets
USC.
Cade McNamara from the transfer portal, and we use him in some packages against you guys just for fun.
What year's USC coming to the Big Ten?
That's in 24 years, not next year, but 24.
Yeah. Well, don't forget UCLA.
Unless they can expedite that.
Yeah, because Henderson goes to USC. Buckeyes are probably playing them in the first year. I mean, they're going to treat USC and UCLA terrible in that first year.
At least the Big Ten West will be decent again. They don't realign.
Well, yeah, they're probably not going to have East and West.
Ooh, here's a CJ Stroud. Thanks, Wayne.
Wow.
Who cares? CJ Stroud, one read QB flop in the NFL.
There's a certain
dainty. CJ is dainty.
He's not a one read quarterback.
There's a certain
dainty, yes, but he's not a one read quarterback.
In the NFL, he would probably get crushed and he'd get sacked. It's interesting because CJ, I don't know why he doesn't run a little bit. I mean, quarterbacks get hit on almost every play. They drop back, right? So quarterbacks, by definition,
he runs around a lot. He runs around a lot to try to throw, but he doesn't run to try to get yards on the ground. I think maybe it's just like maybe it's from California. Maybe it's just the California in him, where he's just not as tough as some of the other kids.
Oh, come on, California in him, really?
California, yeah.
Can I say one thing?
There's a short.
If you have to ask, then no.
There's a certain QB who played for Ohio State, who was from Maryland, who did not do well in the pros. And I remember Matt telling me how great he was going to be in the pros. I won't mention his name because I think I might get some flack.
Yeah,
We don't need to be talking about dead people. Come on.
I didn't say anyone who's dead. I just pointing out that there was a certain QB that you loved that was from Maryland.
And he's dead?
You said he was going to be a pro, a good pro, and he kind of wasn't. But,
yeah, he passed away just recently.
Who was it?
I'm not unaware of that if that's what happened.
Who was
you
it?
Can say his name, Matt. Do you not remember?
Dude, that's so inappropriate. Come
Don't
on.
make me Google dead Ohio State quarterback.
No, don't do that. No.
I don't know who we're talking about. I'm confused.
Thank you, Forrest Fam 24 for
only quarterback I know from Maryland is Boomer Esiason, and he was good pro, very good pro.
Have you forgot Baby Tua, as Matt likes to call him?
Hey, Diego, here we go.
Had all the records at Maryland, broke all of them.
Here's an explanation.
One that stood for 25 years.
From I Am Too Busy.
Okay.
Like a list of NFL prospects competing in bowl games.
Oh, that's a lot of prospects. Are we talking
a lot.
All bowl games?
You'd definitely be doing that.
I can tell you who the Maryland guys are, but that's about it. Wow, that's a lot.
BJ flops in the NFL. I'm going to love it. I think that was a slight on CJ. just guessing.
He's going to be a sloppy player.
Diego, do you know where Caleb Williams is from?
I do. He's another asshole from Washington, D.C., who it was down to Oklahoma and Maryland. He picked Oklahoma, and now he's at USC, and I despise him as well. Don't you worry. That's a good point.
Can you imagine how good Maryland would have been over the years if they could keep the people in the Maryland, D.C. area?
Honestly, right now, my blood is boiling. I've been drinking, so I'm really upset right now after you said that.
Your blood's boiling. It should be your liver crying.
5-star.
Caleb is another disloyal, terrible. He might as well be Kevin Durant. Okay, another disloyal, terrible local star.
You have a lot of grievances.
At least you got your receipt. You did.
He does.
You did get.
We need a list of Diego's grievances.
He should celebrate Festivus with his grievances.
Matt, you said something before Festivus was mentioned. What'd you just say?
I said that at least you got to keep your receiver. You got to keep what's his name?
Rakim Jarrett, who's played his final game at Maryland already. Yeah, great.
No. I meant a few years back. The best
Diggs?
Maryland receiver that's in the NFL right now.
Yeah, Diggs.
Yeah, because it was down to Ohio State and Maryland, and you guys were able to keep
we win 1 out of 30 of those types of competitions.
I thought this was an Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
What the hell?
Let's talk about this comment here, Matt. Thank you, Matthew, for posting. Ohio can't even win with 3 5-star QBs. Ohio, you like that? I like that. That's throwback to Brady Hoke. Now you want McNamara?
What was old Brady Hoke's record against Ohio State?
Oh, we're not talking about Hoke.
Who cares about his record? That dude looked just like Fred Flintstone.
He had 1 win against Ohio State. That's better than most in the last 15 years.
Well, how about Ryan Day has as many losses to Michigan as his 3 predecessors had combined?
Very true. And
Ryan Cooper.
What I will say in his defense. Now, Urban Meyer and Jim Tressel did not play very many good Michigan teams. And the 2 teams that Day lost to are the 2 best Michigan teams in the last 25, 35 years.
A lot of excuses.
So the competition is.
Oh, my God. That mug is so disgusting.
We have JJ.
So disgusting. Oh.
So let's compare the quarterbacks on the Michigan team. We have JJ McCarthy, 5-star quarterback, and versus when Urban Meyer was going up against them, we had John O'Korn. I mean, come on, is there a comparison here?
Yeah, and Michigan has definitely gotten better. I mean, the last 2 years have been.
And that's
amazing.
just one example.
I mean, Ohio State has not had.
You guys have stars across both sides of the field. The best. You guys are probably going to have the Remington Award winner at center, who you got in the transfer portal, which was probably the best move any school made all year outside of USC getting Caleb Williams. That's probably the second best pickup of anyone in the country. Oh,
you're right.
And maybe Alabama getting Gibbs also. That was also really big. So those 3 are the best.
So Wayne says all OSU QB flops in the pros. Fact.
Absolutely.
That is a fact.
Thank you,
And-
Wayne. Thank you,
Justin Fields
Wayne.
is good.
And except Justin Fields might be the
Justin
exception.
Fields.
He
We just
runs
don't
the
know.
ball. He doesn't even
I mean,
pass.
he's not a flop yet because he doesn't have enough time and he's
Yeah,
injured.
wait till he becomes
Lamar Jackson doesn't pass.
wait till he becomes
Yeah, he
RG3 and his knee is taken out and he's a nothing. Like every other Ohio State quarterback.
The jury is out on Fields. Fields is having a decent season, but he's running way too much.
Yeah, it's a matter of time.
He has
before
zero help too.
Zero. Yeah, the Bears are disgusting.
No, the running backs are good.
Detroit, please use your draft picks to go get Justin Fields. Just want to put that out there.
Why do you want him?
Oh, I'd take him.
Detroit's
Right,
not
you
even
back
playing
up
poorly
Jameson
right now.
Williams.
They're playing
Nate,
decent.
Nate, you're a Lions fan?
Huge Lions fan, yes.
Oh, how did I not know that?
He's from Michigan, for
He's
Christ's
from
sake. That's
Michigan.
why
Yeah,
Yeah,
I live
but
in Ohio.
I always thought he was a Fugazi. You know, like he was sort of like Ohio, mostly Ohio, but he just decided to be a Michigan fan.
No, he's from Hawley, Michigan.
I know originally or some shit, but I don't believe it. I mean, how long has he been in Ohio?
Nate,
How long have you
listen.
been in Ohio?
do you know
Me? Oh, since I was 16, which is a long time ago.
Oh, I thought it was even longer than that. Wow. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of credit.
Okay.
A little bit. I thought you were
what's
just
that?
like
Nate? I got
Go ahead.
a relevant question here. So, trivia question: who's the best offensive lineman to play? Well, I don't even know if he's the best. Who's a really good offensive lineman to play for the Detroit Lions in the last 10, 15 years? Whose son is going to be going to Ohio State as the top quarterback prospect in the country?
Taylor Decker? Is it Taylor Decker?
Dominic Raiola.
Oh,
No.
Raiola.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is
I
he,
wouldn't have got
wait,
that.
was he that good at?
Taylor Decker's not old enough, I guess, for that.
Was he that good on the Lions?
There's
Yeah,
probably
so
coaches on the Lions that can't
Yeah,
even
he
name
was
Lions.
good. He wasn't an
offense.
all-star or anything. He's good. He's good for a Lions player. But anyway, his son in the 2024 class, he's the top quarterback in the country.
I'm still
So
pissed
I'm
that Chris
pretty excited
Jenkins
about getting that
kid.
dude.
Chris Jenkins kid's on Michigan. That fucking still makes me mad.
Oh my gosh.
That's
You're
fucking,
upset about it. Is he from Maryland?
Yeah, he would play for Maryland before he made the NFL and was a superstar in the NFL. He played for Maryland.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And he
Hey, let's
lives
get to
in
this other
Maryland.
comment. Let's get to this other comment. This is a good one. It says, not Ryan Day's fault or Justin Fields nor CJ Stroud's fault. They keep losing. OSU needs a better D scheme. That's it. With a good defensive coordinator, Day would have had 3 college football titles by now.
Wow.
That's might be a little bit of truth to that.
You know what, Nate? Just like your wife, they just need better D.
That's not true.
Oh wow.
But yeah, talk about that, Matt. Are you in agreement with that? Has it been the defense in the last 3 years?
Of course. I mean, it's not all defensive coordinator, but it's definitely the majority of it's on the defense. I mean, obviously this year we've had. I mean, you can't blame the second half solely on the defense in this year's game, and even last year, like we passed all over you guys last year from like 450 yards or something, and then this year 350 yards. So the main problem obviously is the defense when you're giving up this many yards last year and points, and then this year giving up a lot of big plays and a lot of points. So defense is part of the problem, but it's not the whole problem. And it's not defensive coordinator being the sole problem. As far as just defense, you know, we have really, there's just no, you know, we have one NFL player in the secondary. I'm sorry, 2 NFL players. One really good Ransom, you know, he's our best defender in the secondary, and he got burnt on a double move for a touchdown. And then the other guy, Hickman, got a huge PI on a 3rd or 4th down play on the end zone where he ran into the guy. It was borderline call, but still, you know, he's the guy he announced before.
Yeah, that was a little borderline. Wasn't great. Wasn't a lot of contact, but he didn't turn around and look for the ball.
Yeah.
Hey, are we
Either way, like, you know, I don't think he's going to be a
out.
super high pick.
Did Ohio State play any safeties at all on Saturday? Did they have any safeties on the field? I
They
swear to
had
God,
safeties
none were
on the
there.
field, but yeah, they weren't
Our
playing very
safeties
well.
have been the strength of our team this year. They, you know,
Were they just up in run coverage the whole time because there's nobody over the top?
The safeties had a terrible game
Yeah.
in all aspects.
Well, so 2 of them, Jason. So Lathan Ransom he's the guy who blocked a punt in 2 games in a row. and he's been a star all season. And he just had, his worst game of the year, giving up an out and up on one of the touchdowns on a double move. And then the other one was Kevin Martinez, who's like the number 3 or 4 safety who hasn't played much this year. He was the guy who gave up the other one. So the two really bad ones were
Hicks
giving up.
had
So it's really the
interference
scheme.
call too.
But the corners
really
are really the
tough.
corners are trash, though. I don't think. I mean, it doesn't feel like they're very talented.
Yeah, they are. No,
I don't know if they're trash. I think they're solid. They
Dude,
didn't have a terrible game. It was
Matt
the
called
second.
out.
Brown is decent.
But Matt called out where they got burned, and they didn't always get burned on necessarily great moves either.
Michigan just had their number this time.
Yeah,
Hey, let's get to this comment. It says, I'm sorry, fellow Buckeyes, even as alumni, and I don't want to play Georgia round 1 being a 4th seed.
Nobody wants to play Georgia.
You don't have
Georgia's
to feel
the best
sorry.
team
You don't
by
have to
far.
apologize.
Yeah.
Wait, is he alumni or is he an alumnus?
He's saying, I don't
Nobody
know.
cares.
I think he is.
But I
Alumnus.
mean, there are some people like after they feel pretty jaded after this loss, and they're like, I don't want to go play. Like, I don't want to go play Georgia, even if we do slip into the.
If you get embarrassed
number
2
4.
games in a row, what does that do for anybody?
Yeah, but
everyone
I think
keeps
a lot
forgetting
of Buckeye
about
fans would like to
Georgia
see that.
losing by 2 scores last year to Bama. And
Ohio
they still
State
went
is
in,
not-
And then they came back and they won.
Last year's Georgia team, though, they're a better team.
First of all, what difference does it make whether you play in round 1 or in the final? I mean, in the end, you don't win the national title if you don't beat Georgia, assuming Georgia, wins both.
Yeah,
or wins the first game.
I guess the hope is that maybe Georgia plays someone else first and loses.
Yeah, but then you're basically saying we're not good enough to beat the real best team. We're hoping the real best team loses.
Well, yeah,
They couldn't even beat the second best team
it's
in
weak.
Big
I
Ten.
know.
That's weak. That's weak, JJ. Come on.
That's why I don't understand it. Yeah, I know.
I like you, JJ, but that's weak.
I'm in
That's
favor.
not. I
That's
agree
weak.
with JJ.
JJ, you're great, but that's weak.
I'm in favor. I'm in favor of trying to get a win, even if you have a 10% chance, 5% chance. At least there's a chance. So why not try? It's much better than playing in a meaningless Rose Bowl game that doesn't matter at all.
No, 100%. But you shouldn't give a shit in a 4-game playoff who you play first. You got to beat them both.
Well, now here's where I disagree. So why it matters is okay. So the perfect example is 2019 when Ohio State was vying with LSU to get the number 1 seed, and I think we were number 1 most of the year, and I thought that we deserved it. I thought that was the best Ohio State team I'd ever seen, and lots of bad calls and fluky shit that happened, including getting an ejection from our best defender in that game, and one of our best defenders. When Wade got thrown out, they had a catch. The guy had possession, made 5 steps after catching a ball. We strip it, return it for a fucking touchdown, and they removed it. I mean, that's a huge call. And
What do you mean removed it?
So many plays like that.
What do you mean removed it? Is that a football
They
term?
called it. They called it. They said it wasn't a catch. They said it wasn't a catch. He
removed
had the
is
ball.
not a
He
football
ran. He had
term.
5 steps.
You're saying it was a penalty.
They overturned the catch after
All right.
5 steps when it was a fucking return for a touchdown. That's incredible. I mean, and that was just one of 5 horrendous calls. But anyway, like on that team, like that was by far the best team that I'd ever seen. Offensively and defensively, we're completely balanced, had an amazing defense, amazing offense. And the reason why seeding matters is because LSU bumped ahead of us barely. You can make arguments on both sides who deserved the 1 seed that year. It was very close, and they get Oklahoma in round 1. We get Clemson in round 1, right? So if we were playing Oklahoma in round 1, we would have won because Oklahoma was a joke that year. And then in round 2, we would have played LSU. Probably wouldn't have won, but at least we would have had a chance. Whereas the Clemson game was a fluke. I mean.
By the way,
that's what I'm getting at. Why it matters.
Can we respond? I don't agree, but can we respond to Gary Green's comment here?
You don't
Gary
agree with anyone, Diego.
Huh?
You don't agree with anyone.
Well, if we're talking your politics, I definitely don't agree. But if we're talking football, I sometimes agree. So
Michigan struggled. Gary says Michigan struggled with Illinois the week before.
He makes a good point.
To affect them.
Yeah, he makes a
Ohio State struggled with Maryland the week before. those games didn't necessarily affect them, but there were different outcomes. Like Michigan responded in a different way than Ohio
Yeah,
State.
Michigan's more resilient, apparently.
Tougher.
I hate to say it because my dad's an Ohio State grad, but
Well,
that's what it sounds like.
if you look at the beginning of the game, Ohio State was playing a lot better than Michigan at the start of the game. I mean, we were running all over you guys, and we stopped the run. You had 10 yards rushing the first half. We had like 170. I mean, we were destroying you on the ground. And, we ran down and got a touchdown immediately. And then we did another drive, drove down immediately again, and got,
Field goal.
they decided to kick a field. I thought that was another big problem. That even kicking a field goal there, they should have went for it. And he was, Dave was super conservative in this game. And, he used to not be like that. I think his conservative style is not working out for him.
Yeah, maybe not.
First of all, that guy needs like some eye cream because I've never seen a guy that's only 45 that looks that terrible. I don't understand what's going on with your coach. Ryan Day, he needs some serious eye cream.
He can't get any sleep because he can't beat Michigan.
Oh my God, dude, he has the biggest bags under his eyes. It's frankly embarrassing. He makes too many millions of dollars to not handle that. I mean, come on.
Wahoo fan. I still think the Wolverines get destroyed by Georgia again if they meet up in the playoffs.
Those are some fighting words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's very possible.
Analyze this. Let's get the outsider. What does Jason and Diego think about this?
About what?
The
Georgia
Wolverines
destroying
that matchup.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start.
Well, first of all, it's not going to be round one.
Their first round, though.
Okay,
Michigan would
start.
have to beat ECU, and
Okay,
Georgia
but
would
let's
have
just
to
assume for the sake of argument that'll
USC.
happen. Let's assume for the sake of the argument that'll happen. I'm going to start because I know Jason's response is going to be so much more detailed and intelligent than mine, and you always want to end on a good note. So let me start. I'm going to say that Georgia's not as good as it's been in the past. So I don't believe that this is like an SEC will trounce Big Ten game. I'm not saying that Georgia can't win. Obviously, Georgia could easily win, but I don't think that this preconceived idea that the SEC is tough, therefore the Big Ten has no chance, is going to happen or is going to rule the day or whatever. I think that the Wolverines are going to be much tougher in any game against Georgia or frankly Alabama if Alabama makes it, which I don't think they should, but if they do because they're Alabama. So
is that it?
That's it. That's all I got.
Listen, your quarterback there in Michigan's not going to have another game like that this season. He's still young, and Matt called it. He doesn't really have the accuracy on the deep ball. I like all day, every day predicted 45-23. I think that's pretty close. I'll say if they meet up again, it's 50-21 to Georgia.
Wait, you said 50-21?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so we're seriously in disagreement here.
Michigan had their one big game. Everything worked in their favor. I just don't think they can replicate that yet. I don't trust the quarterback yet.
Michigan didn't blow their load. They've got more. They've got more.
If anybody would know about that, you would.
They've got more. I trust Michigan.
What I would say is, I think that, I think it's almost a toss-up. I think that, obviously, Georgia does have a slightly better passing game. They have an uncoverable tight end, and their defense is very good. I think that Michigan's defense is a little bit better. And, I think the difference is going to be, I still think that Michigan will be able to run on Georgia, and they're not going to be able to stop the run. It's just, is JJ going to be able to make enough plays and stay healthy without having Cade as his backup now, potentially, if he leaves before the playoff game. Can he stay healthy and make a few plays? And, I think he might be able to. I think the running game is definitely good enough to do it. And I think that they have, one of the better defenses I've seen other than their pass rush, but their secondary is excellent. And, the run defense I was a little iffy on too, because, we had our seventh string running back run for like 6.5 yards a carry. And that was pretty unexpected. But, overall the defense is very good, and I think it'll keep them in, any game they play in the postseason. It's just I still don't quite have enough faith when they have competent defensive backs covering their receivers that they're going to be able to make enough
Michigan
plays.
gets behind big.
But maybe
and
they
has
could
to
just
start
run
passing.
it. Maybe they could run it. Yeah. Well, maybe they could run it every single play. Honestly,
I think Michigan.
I don't know if
Michigan,
anyone can stop the run.
Michigan needs to have more faith in McCarthy. I think he's better than the coaches realize. I know they're trying to, limit his passing, but I think, if they were more balanced, they would realize that McCarthy's a real deal. I think he's a real deal. I think if you look at his efficiency, he's been way better than advertised.
We'll see.
Well,
Yeah,
Diego,
in that
let me ask
game
you this.
when they loaded the box,
he made big plays against us.
he put the ball right over top of him. I mean, he really all those big plays JJ made. I mean, it was.
I'd like to
because
see
of the
him
way
do it under
that
pressure
they were
and tight
playing.
defense, though. Come on, he was throwing
No,
to
no,
like
of course.
nobody.
Yeah.
He's not going to
You
do
think
it the
that
same
wasn't
way.
a big game with tight defense? I mean,
Well,
it was Ohio State.
No,
Those
Ohio
receivers
State's
were wide
there
open.
was
secondary.
no tight defense.
There was
Ohio
no
State
tight.
secondary
They were
was
wide open.
suspect. But I think
So
he can do it.
let's go to Antoine Johnson's comment here. It says
Okay.
Illinois is built and plays like Michigan. They have a legit front four at the defensive tackle spot. See, what people don't understand is Ohio State is built to pass rush, not fight in the trench. That's
Yeah, I believe
probably
it.
very, very true.
showed
That
that.
sounds about right. I mean,
Yep.
Matt, you agree with that? Because he's right. Their pass rush. I mean, as far as like protecting, like Michigan couldn't get any like pass rush whatsoever on those Buckeyes, and they didn't necessarily need to, like you were saying. The secondary really held up, but that is just kind of like how Ohio State is built, right?
Well, it shows how good the secondary is that you were getting. I mean, he was back there with 7-8 seconds sometimes and wasn't able to make a play. I mean, that's incredible coverage to be able to do that. That's like almost unheard of, especially if you have good receivers. So, but as far as what was his question? He was talking
And
about
I might have
defensive tackles. So
misunderstood.
defensive
Actually, I
tackles,
think what
the
he's
guys-
saying is Ohio State's
Yeah,
defensive line is built to
Yeah,
pass
they
rush,
built their pass rush,
fight in
not
the
to
trench.
fight. Yep, that's the physical difference between the two teams.
So they get bowled over in a running
well,
game,
it depends.
but
It depends. So
they're real
the
athletic.
first half of the year, we had Mike Hall Jr. and Tyleek Williams, and they were actually getting pass rush and stopping the run. They were doing everything. And then those guys got benched for Teron Vincent and Jerron Cage, who were just sort of like space eaters, but they don't really do anything that well. Those guys aren't going to be going in the NFL. So, defensive tackle is definitely one of the weaknesses. The starting defensive tackles are definitely the weaknesses on the team, along with the corner.
Nate, there are a ton of questions
Why is
coming
Diego calling me?
in.
Diego, you're calling me. We're here.
You can drop off. Why don't we do lightning answers on these questions where one person answers one of the questions to try to finish these off at the end?
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap
Instead
it
of
up
all
here.
of us answer the question.
We're gonna have to wrap it up here.
Yeah,
I like
would've
this.
done
What
that
you're
before I got
saying,
two
Antoine
kids.
saying that's why Ohio State played cover 0. Is they basically played a goal line defense. That's how scared they were to face Michigan straight up. That is so true, and they didn't back off of it either, even when they knew they should have. That's why they got burned.
Well, maybe like I said before, maybe it wasn't that they should have. Maybe they knew they couldn't.
I don't know about that.
I mean, the
I think
Michigan,
they
Michigan
should've
offensive
just
line and both your running backs are elite. So, I mean, you guys have potentially the best offensive line in the country. We have, the defensive tackles that we were starting were not very good. Now we do have good linebackers this year, surprisingly. Like both our linebackers are very good, but the defensive tackles were just not up to, like going up against All-American center, the best center in the country, and the rest of your line, which is also very good. It's not a good matchup for stopping the run. So I think they knew. So I'm not sure how much of it was they knew they needed that extra pressure up there to stop the run versus that's also might just be Jim Knowles' strategy in general. I mean, I'm not sure how much of that was his general strategy versus he was just really worried that they wouldn't be able to stop the run if they didn't do that. So
let's wrap this up. I think that sorry we couldn't get to all the comments,
That's great, though. A lot of great
questions.
comments.
A lot of great questions.
Well, how many comments did we not get to?
Quite a few,
We're
but
rolling right now. Yeah.
I think that let's talk about real quick and wrapping this up. 2 questions: is TreVeyon going to transfer? Number 1, and is Ohio State getting into the playoffs? Let me hear your predictions.
I like question number 2.
Because you want to say no.
So specifically, I think we should do we can worry about the playoffs next. We should also pick what we think the rankings are going to be tomorrow. Top 5.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
easy.
pretty obvious.
All right. Does TreVeyon transfer? No. Does Ohio State make the
Is
playoffs?
it?
No.
I think tomorrow is crucial.
No.
Yeah.
All right, you want my answer? You want my answer?
Okay, Diego, I want your answer.
TreVeyon's a fucking idiot if he doesn't transfer. That's my one answer. Okay. It doesn't matter whether he does or doesn't. He's a fucking idiot if he doesn't. And by the way, a lot of players in the country are fucking idiots for not transferring when they sit on the bench. When they sit on the bench, on these fucking super teams. That's just my Maryland perspective.
It's going to get banned on YouTube.
Yeah, and then the second question, will Ohio State make the fucking playoff? I'm gonna keep doing that, by the way, since you guys pointed it out. The second question, the answer is unequivocally no, because TCU is going to make it, and so is USC, because they're going to win. Simple as that. They're going to win, and it's done for Ohio State. I hate to say it because I actually like Ohio State, but I think USC is going to win. I think TCU is going to win, and they're going to be, number 5. And Alabama will be number 6.
Ohio State does not deserve it getting blown out at home when they're the favorite.
And by the way, Hacksaw Jim Duggan should win the Heisman, but that's just me. Max is his real name, but I'll call him Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
You're showing your age, Diego. Most people don't know who that is.
Google it. Google it, youngins. Google it. Google it, youngins. And Jason is calling me an alcoholic. Or at least a drunk.
Matt, let's hear yours. That's the Oscar music's going off for Diego right there.
Okay. I think let's see, TreVeyon will transfer, and the top 5 tomorrow will be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, and then Ohio State at 5, Bama at 6. I think the final 4 will be Michigan, then Georgia, then
what? Michigan number 1? I mean, I agree with you. I think it should be that way, but that's not going to be.
Yeah. Then because I think that LSU is going to have a close game with Georgia, and then I think Michigan's going to have another dominant performance, and they're going to bump them up if they don't do that already tomorrow, which I think
they don't deserve
have the best wins of the year.
You don't deserve to go up in the rankings
for beating Purdue.
Well, no, they deserve it for beating Ohio State.
No, but I'm saying they're not going to bump them
They have
up
2
from
top
2 to
10
1.
wins.
They're not going to bump them up from 2 to 1.
We're talking about tomorrow, Diego.
Most likely it'll be because
Oh.
Tomorrow.
Michigan will be 2.
Oh, you're talking about tomorrow. Okay.
Michigan will be 2.
And then in the final one, I think we'll sneak in at 4, and I don't know who's going to lose. I'm hoping USC is the safer one because they're both only favored by less than 3 points, so either of them could lose. I think even if TCU loses, if it's close, they still might make it. So I would prefer either a TCU blowout or any USC loss. So, we're going to be big fans of Utah and big fans of Kansas State, and hoping for K-State to blow them out. And for you, but the interesting thing is going to be what happens if TCU gets blown out and USC loses. So then, does that mean Ohio State and Bama both make it?
Bama
my prediction for the beginning of the year will be almost complete.
Bama will probably get in, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, that would be the committee's dream.
Hey, Nate.
We're going to get back to conspiracy.
Nate, real fast in the comments, Brian Legary said Michigan has the 2 best wins in the country. What two are we talking
Penn State.
Yes.
Yeah, Michigan has Penn State. Ohio State has a Penn State win too, but
top 10.
Michigan has Penn State.
State.
They're going to be a top 10 team.
Yeah.
I mean, you have two top 10
Penn
wins.
State will be top 10. Ohio State, even with the loss, will be top 5. No one has anything close to that.
All right, whatever.
I would
my
argue.
prediction.
I would argue that the SEC overall is a tougher run that you have to make.
That's a great question.
You
All right,
can't say
Nate,
SEC
give us your
overall
prediction.
because
We're
not
wrapping this up.
everyone plays each other, Diego, in the SEC. Georgia didn't play Alabama.
And so,
All
my
right, Nate,
prediction,
predictions.
Michigan. So basically, I'll start with the one first. I don't think Ohio State gets in. I'd like to see them get in. I don't think USC is going to lose.
No,
and I
you
don't
wouldn't. You don't want to play them again. Stop
No,
lying.
I don't think we're going to play them again
Stop
anyway.
lying.
I think
I
if
think
anyone
you told-
lost, it'd be
You're a
USC.
lying liar.
You told me in a text that you don't want to see Ohio State again. Stop lying. By the way, the host is the liar. The host is a lying liar.
I would actually, it would be a win-win for me. Either way is a win-win.
Lying liar.
And TreVeyon does transfer. I think he's transferring.
All right.
That's too much. That's too much of a sign when you start taking your.
By the
team
way,
down.
if I get fired
He's
and never
not.
get invited back again, you know why.
Yeah, we're gonna put you on mute the whole time. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Talk
Yeah.
next
Go
time.
Tufts!
Oh,
Thanks
God,
especially
Go
to
blue.
Diego.
Go blue.
Go home.
Go Bucks.